Welcome back to the channel, y'all. So today, as you can probably tell by the thumbnail, we're going to be installing the Fatfoxx TFI Relocation. So I'm going to be going over this. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, just cover the basics, because a lot of the stuff I've already done in several videos, like taking off the intake, which is not totally necessary, but I recommend it just based on, you know, ease of use and how quick it is to take the intake off. So without further delay, stay tuned. Let's get to it. All right, so why would you want this? Well, Fox body TFIs are a known problem, especially if you have a cheaper one that's not a Motorcraft. Even the Motorcraft ones go bad over time, and they can, you know, known to leave you stranded. You know, at least until you know. If you're lucky, you just let the car cool off, let the TFI cool back down, and you can start the car back up eventually. But sometimes they just go bad and the car's done. So, you know, for example, I took a spare TFI with me when we went to Fox Fest, or not Fox Fest, excuse me, Ford Takeover, because, you know, it's one of those things you don't want to get stranded in another state, and all parts stores don't have them, especially with that many Fox bodies being around. Someone might have already had that issue. What this does is it gets the, depending on where you relocate it, it gets it away from the engine heat and helps prevent it from overheating, which, you know, can be a permanent problem for the TFI. It can cause it to, you know, like the contacts and whatnot inside of it to break and whatnot, and then it doesn't work. So all in all, there are some specialty tools required. I'm going to go over what it comes with real quick. So here is the harness that it comes with. It has two. It's not the same. It's not universal. So on one side you have your red, blue, and black connectors or wires. On the other side you have a red, blue, and black connector, and then this ground strap wire. The one with the ground strap wire is the side that goes to the distributor. This side is the side that will go around to your TFI. Comes with the instructions, several pages. There are pictures. It kind of leaves you shooter preference on where you want to install it. Good. I've read through them. They're pretty good instructions. But anyway, it also comes with a bag of wires. The wire extensions are color coded to match the factory harness. Has some heat shrink to match the color coding. Has some dielectric grease for the TFI itself. Your ring connector for your ground strap, and some spade connectors to plug into the distributor. So all of which, you know, look like decent ones. Then it also comes with your heat sink / mounting bracket. Kind of cool label there. I just opened it up. I haven't even looked at it. This is the side that your TFI will mount to. Looks like, yep. And then it's even labeled red, black, and blue. So when you mount the TFI, you know which color wire to plug into it. Pretty simple. It also comes with a mounting bolt, which I'm going to be using because I'm going to mount mine. I'm going to right here, right in front of the condenser. It's already threaded. That bolt matches, so that just looks like a very good spot for airflow and should keep it out of the engine bay. Some of the specialty things one of the main specialty things you're going to need, aside from regular wrenches and stuff to get the intake off, you're going to need a set of wire strippers, a soldering iron, and of course some solder. Like I said, you don't really need to buy any extra heat shrink because it comes with it. I would also recommend either a heat gun or a lighter. I've actually been using a lighter more often than not lately because it just seems to work faster. So, pretty much covers that. Yeah, I'm gonna get you all on a time lapse as I get the intake off because I've done it multiple times. Basically, I'll go over an overview real quick. You gotta get the intake disconnected from the throttle body. I'm gonna disconnect all the sensors, the TPS, IAC, PCV, get the EGR disconnected, unbolt the throttle cable bracket, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull the distributor because you gotta do that anyway. And then the 6 bolts for the intake. That's pretty much it. Oh, the vacuum lines. So it'd probably take me 15 minutes to do this, maybe. So just hang on, bear with me, and I'll be back. Okay, one quick point before I pull the distributor. So in the previous video, I had a mark here because that's where the rotor was timed. It's almost the same timing right now. Really, that's the main marking that you need to be concerned with on your rotor to try and get it close, is the rotor relationship to the cap. Because honestly, you can move that, and as long as it stays, because the cap determines what cylinder is about to fire. So, for example, looks like it's about to, it had just, trying to remember if it goes this way, but it's right between 1 and 8. So, when I get it back in, I will want to make sure that the rotor is pretty close to where it's at, where this edge is in line with the mark on my cap. Okay? All right, back to work. All right, intake's out. So next, I'm gonna be taking the TFI wiring, and I'm gonna be trying to get it out of the harness. I'm gonna have to cut the loom right there, the tape anyway, right here where it comes up, and then pull it back. I'm gonna try and get it all the way back to here to give me plenty of room to feed it all the way up here. So this is going to take a few minutes. Let me get to it and I'll be back. Okay, it's a different day. It's pretty much where I'm at. As you can see, you've got the 3 wires that go to your TFI. they come from the driver's side. They have to be eventually routed and snipped so you can extend them, but you also have to pull out this aluminum shielded wire, and I'm still getting it out of there. But you want to get it to at least around here, if not the brake lines, so you have room to run it wherever you're going to run it. So right now I'm going to be snipping the 3 wires, and I'll be back once I get to the next step. Okay, so I've got my 3 wires from the driver's side snipped right here, and then as you can see, I've routed it. I needed to get to about here in between the accumulator and the brake line to have enough to run, because I'm going to mount it right here. So next I'm going to be soldering the extension harness into the wires, and I'll get back to you once I'm done. Alright, so as you can see, got all the wire extensions tied in. Disregard that tape there. The heat shrink got a little tore up on one of my solder connections, so I just wrapped it in tape over that just to be sure. But next I got to route all these wires back in this loom and bring it to about here, and then we'll be going on with the install. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're all wired up with the extension harness. I've rerouted the red and blue, red and green, and orange with yellow wires back through to meet up with the full shrouded wires. Next we're going to be hooking up and connecting the hip harness. So I'll start with that. Got to add the butt connectors. The side with the bare copper is the side that goes to the distributor. I'm going to be hooking a spade connector and heat shrink up to each one of these, as well as heat shrink on this. And then we'll be doing the same for the other side with the female connectors. Be back. So as you can see, got the distributor side hooked up. Use the male, or maybe that's called the female. I always get that mixed up. But then the TFI side right here. Gonna get it routed, try and mount the TFI, and I'll be back. Okay, so got it mounted up in the distributor. Got it routed up around. Now it's time to start looming this towards the front and get it mounted up here. Okay, so get the wiring routed down over here behind the headlight. It's down here. So I have to hook up the TFI, which I've already got mounted with dielectric grease. All I got left to do is plug in the TFI right here, hook up the 3 wires that are color coded, black, red, blue, and then bolt it right there. So bear with me, and I'll be right back. Well, as you can see, she's alive, running just fine. Had to do a base idle reset, obviously, because I disconnected the battery. No big deal. Yeah, I plan on an afternoon, I guess, today to do this. If you want to take your time and do it right, there, that way you guys can hear me. You want to take your time and do it right. Plus, I mean, it took me a little longer because I was showing my son things. He was asking questions, which is always good. You want to teach the next generation, right? So, all in all, wasn't that bad. I guess the only thing I had an issue with, really, was the extension harness, the solder, or not the solder, the heat shrink that it came with. I would have probably liked to seen a little bit bigger diameter heat shrink. Had a couple pieces that didn't want to go over. That's just because I'm not the greatest solderer in the world. If you're a professional solderer, then you can probably make it tighter and whatnot, but you know, I probably would have done that. In fact, a couple of them I did go ahead and slide bigger diameter heat shrink over to do that. That's the biggest. If I had a gripe, that's the only gripe I had. Yeah, so I guess we'll see how this works out. As always, if you found this helpful at all, or if you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And as always, until next time, I'll be back.